Good afternoon. I'm going to talk today about the business side of trading. Uh, One of the things that's, to me at least, is so important is this is a business. It's not a game. It's not uh, fun. If you're doing it right, it's boring. So we're going to talk a little about the business side of things. My passion in trading is in helping beginner and intermediate traders. I like to work with people who have not yet become wildly successful. By that, I mean 100% per year or more. So if you haven't become wildly successful yet, get in touch with one of us. I like to work with people who've not traded much and want to learn, and people who want to improve their trading results. I've had a lot of people come to me over the years who say, uh, I decided to start trading and I didn't know what I was doing. Now I've lost all my money. How can you help me? And that's a really difficult situation to be in. I had one person who traded her $50,000 account up to 1.2 million and then in the next year lost the whole thing plus $30,000 more. And again, that's really hard when you don't have anything left to work with. I do love to teach, mentor, and consult. So if you're interested in that, get in touch with me. I'm really easy to get in touch with. You see my phone number right here on the bottom of each slide. That's my cell phone. Call me. I'm available almost all the time. Like Harry, I work from really early till really late every day, weekends included. And I do have clients who've made more than $1 million using Sunny Bands, which I'll show you in a few minutes. And there's my phone number again, just for convenience. Trading is ultimately a business. It's not a game, and it should be approached as such. Anything less is folly. Trading is generally a solitary endeavor. You sit behind your computer and watch prices tick all day long. I have an indicator that I call Bing ticks. It plays a little sound file with each tick of the market so I can hear how fast things are going and which direction they're going in, depending on the sound. Generally, a trader doesn't have employees. You're the manager, the trader, the accountant, and the chief bottle washer. This is the disclaimer. Hypothetical performance results are meaningless, I like to say, which is that's all we have. So they're not completely meaningless, but actual results may not be achieved in any particular trading program. Also, past performance is not necessarily a predictor of future results. All investing involves risk of loss, and the examples provided in this presentation may not necessarily be representative of typical results. Your capital is at risk when you invest. You can lose some or all of your money. So the rule is never risk more than you can afford to lose. And this presentation will be on my website under appearances. And you can click on this link when you get there and it'll show you the full disclosure. I'm what's known as a professional trader. I've been trading for almost 45 years now. In January, it'll be 45 years. I trade futures, stocks, and crypto. I do not trade options. I found out real quick that I know how to lose money trading options, and so I gave that one up. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, but first I'm going to show you a screen that is how I trade. Oh, and tcrgsunny.substack.com. I have a Substack that I do every evening where I tell you what I think is going to happen the next day. And it's free, so come on in. And this is the chart that I look at. This is the Dow. And this is the chart that I present every day, every afternoon. And I tell you what I think is going to happen over here at the far right edge. And today I thought we were going to go down. Yesterday I thought we were going to go down today, and we did. So I've been a professional trader since 1981 through all the major crashes. So I've seen these things. They actually happen. And they're not necessarily scary. I love crashes because you can make so much more money so much quicker. And the next one, and we will have a next one. I don't know when, but there's always another crash in the future. I trade the S&P 500 futures contract on 1 and 5 minute charts. I also use 15-minute charts here. I've heard that the S&P is the most difficult market to trade, but I've been doing it for so many years that it speaks to me. I feel the rhythm of the market. I do have long stock holdings, and to me, a week or more is long term because when you're looking at 5 minute charts, a week is a long term. And I trade crypto. So I will post the PDF of this talk. And I also have a free podcast called The Sonny Harris Show. And I've interviewed Harry Boxer and 53 other people who are well known in the business for their work. And if you want to know where I think the Dow's going next, Substack's the way to go. At the end of this session, to give everybody a free week in my live trading room. So I have a live trading room called Trade Along with Sonny. And I trade every morning from 7:30 a.m. Pacific time to 8:30. And you're welcome to come see what I'm doing. Just real quickly, I was rated #1 trader twice, rated by Stark Research. And I was using Sunny Bands and my dynamic moving average to do it. And you can see right there at the top, #1. I grew up dirt poor in Appalachia. And by that, I mean we had an outhouse and no running water and dirt on the floor. I decided that education was the way to get out of Appalachia. So I got 3 degrees in mathematics, 1 in photography, and I've done many post-grad classes, mostly in computer science. I've been programming for 57 years, trading for 44. I originally was a systems programmer for Lockheed up in Sunnyvale, California. And then I became one of the founders of ISCO, which was the world's leader in computer graphics software. And when I was 30, I retired. I gave my money to money managers because I didn't know anything about the stock market or the economy or how to trade or any of that. So I gave them my money, and in 3 weeks, they lost $75,000. And I thought, I can do that poorly on my own. So I read and read and read. And now I've read 747 books on trading and investing. But the first year that I was watching the market, I didn't enter a single trade. I just watched and learned to feel the rhythm. I've written more than 5 best-selling books now. Trading 101, Trading 102, Electronic Day Trading 101, Getting Started in Trading, TradeStation Made Easy, and with my good friend Linda Blair, we wrote Going Vegan. With Murray Ruggiero, I wrote Using Easy Language 9.x. And then Sam Tennis and I wrote The Definitive Guide to TradeStation's Easy Language and OOEL Programming. Now, Sam Tennis has sadly left us as of August, but the book's still there. And I've written articles for all the major magazines, just so you know who I am. There we go. And these are the covers of my books, so you can see what I wrote. And that one, and then TC&RG, Trader's Catalog and Resource Guide, is a magazine I published for 8 years. And about the time that the internet came out, I decided print form of magazines was going to be too expensive and no longer used. So I quit doing that magazine. And these are the covers of the two most recent books. So what is that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. On my website, at the top, you go across the menu items and you'll see quips. I've got quips and quotes from unsolicited emails that people have sent to me. So you might want to go there and spend a little time and see what people think of my services. And again, the Substack is tcrgsunny.substack.com. And it's called Where Will the Dow Go From Here? So every day I post my latest prediction for the next day. And it's free for now. It won't always be free. So come get your free subscription now. Oh, I do have customers all over the world, so don't be afraid to call me if you're in Africa or India or Australia. I have one client that's in Singapore, so he's 15 hours ahead of me. So don't be afraid to call. This is probably the most important slide of the entire deck. How to make a six-figure income from trading. So just to make things easy, let's start with assuming we want to make 120,000 a year. That's 6 figures. So we divide by 12 months. Now you've broken it down. Your goals are a little more defined, and you need to make 10,000 a month in order to make a 6-figure income. 20 trading days a month, divide by that, and you get $500 a day. Now that's not bad. It's not really awful to make $500 a day. It's quite doable. That's only 5 trades at $100 each. Now you see what I mean by breaking it down. That gives you something that's achievable. And you just do it over and over and over again each day. And there's usually between $1,000 and $3,500 a day potential in the S&P. That is if you go short and long one contract. So before you start trading, determine your goals, just like I just did that. Divide it into attainable dailies. So we're down to $500 a day. And develop a written plan. I can't tell you how important that is. If you don't have a plan written down, you're certainly not going to follow it. So plan your strategy, test your strategy. That's key. And if the stats are good, keep going. If the stats are not good, go back to number 1, plan your strategy. And you keep doing those steps over and over and over again until you have a well-defined strategy that you can follow. There's only one reason to trade in my book, and that's to make money. If you're doing it for any other reason, I dare say you're not profitable. If you're doing it for the excitement or the challenge or to make a few extra dollars or the thrill of the win or to live on, that's the most difficult thing of any of them. If you have to make a profit this month to pay your bills, that's really, really hard to do. So let's look again at $192 per day for a year. That's what this chart looks like. So $192 a day, straight line up. And I'm going to put this spreadsheet on moneymentor.com so you can access it. But if you go day 1 through day 260, so 260 trading days in a year, that's 50 grand at 192 per day. Keep that chart. I chart just about everything because that way you've got a goal in front of you and you can chart it on paper and see every day how you're doing with respect to your chart. If you keep it every day, you're going to be more likely to make the goal. Yeah, so I'm going to put that spreadsheet there for you to download. You go to moneymentor.com/downloads to get to it. And all you have to do to get access to my free stuff is become a free member. This is moneymentor.com/membership. Now, you also need to know your audience. Who are you working for when you're trading? If you're a lone trader, the audience is you. If you're doing it for others, like a CTA or something along that line, a fund manager, then your audience is them. You have to do your trading for them. And if you're doing it like I do, daily trading live, then your audience is you and them. So in my live trading room, I keep track of my trades every single day. So you are my audience, and I am my audience in that case. God, there will always be losses. There's just no way around it. And some people get so disappointed when you have a lot when they have a loss. But I always just say, well, that's one out of the way. We all have losses. So be sure to account for your losses in your projections. For instance, if you plan to make $200 a day, you probably should allow for making 400 and losing half of it. Keep track of all the details. Be sure to account for commissions, which are hardly anything anymore. Commissions on the S&P used to be $50 a side. Now it's my commission is $1.20 a side. Hang on just a second. My voice is getting scratchy. So $1.20 a side is just next to nothing. But then, of course, you've got the exchange fees you have to pay. Stock and ETF commissions are basically zero. Stock options are zero plus 60 cents a contract. And I trade at TradeStation, and the margin requirement there is among the lowest in the industry. So remember, it's a business. Let's talk about expenses. Commission and other brokerage expenses like exchange fees. Another expense is slippage. One of my people in my live trading the room the other day said, "Oh my gosh, that's positive slippage." So I made 6 ticks by the time I clicked the button to buy. Six free slippage ticks. Whether you know it or not, even if you're trading with a laptop on your kitchen table, you need to account for office space and office expenses. So you've got paper, you've got phones, you've got software, you've got all kinds of things, computer expenses. These are all part of what you have to keep track of. And of course, taxes. You need to keep track of your taxes. Now I have let me come back to that. I have a program that I use for my taxes with trading, and it's called Trade Something. I'll get to it in a minute. A retail business is happy with 10% per year profit. It's slim, but it's profit. New traders tell me over and over again they want to make 100% per year, but that's next to impossible. You have to be more realistic. If you make 10% per year, you're doing really well. Just keep it consistent. I did a little study once upon a time. I had a big book that listed 2,000 commodity trading advisors in the US. And I decided I wanted to know what their average return was. So I averaged all 2,000 of them together, and the average was 0. If I took the top 1,000 and averaged them together, I got 10%. That was their return. And the top half of that made 30% per year. So if you can get to 30% per year, you're doing better than the top 25% in the industry. TradeLog, that's the name of the program I was trying to think of. So I can export my trades out of TradeStation, put them into TradeLog, and it'll do all of my analysis and taxes for me. So if you make lots of trades like I do, you need to export them and let it keep track of them because it's just a pain. Hey, stop it. Pumpkin, stop it. I have a 2.5 pound Yorkie that comes to work with me every day, and she's the boss. So get TradeLog. It's not expensive at all. I think I pay $3.59 a year for it, and it's well worth it. If you make fewer trades than I do, a spreadsheet will do just fine. And the reports from your platform, and these are the platforms I have my software in: TradeStation, MultiCharts, NinjaTrader, and Metastock. So if you make very few trades, you can just do with the report from your platform. This is the trade log that I keep, so I know how well I'm doing. Every single day I put in the net profit or loss from that day. And last year we made, this year we're up 167%. Last year we were up 482%. So if you were someone new and you called me up and you wanted to learn to trade, the first thing I'd do is try to discourage you. It's really a difficult business. 90% of all new traders wipe out their accounts within the first year. It's competitive, it's time consuming. If you do it right, you're going to be spending a lot of time invested in learning and practicing. And only 10% of the people succeed. So that's a difficult number. I call it a dangerous profession. So proceed with caution. How much should you plan to make? Well, you need to know how much is available. When you look at a chart like one of Harry's, how much money is on there? If it's a few cents, is it really worth trading? If it's a few dollars, then you can make it up in volume. So let's look at the SPY for a second and see how much is available. This is my newest Metastock indicator. I've had it for years and years on TradeStation, but we just converted it to work on Metastock, and it's called Potential Hourly Wage. And I'll show you what that's good for in just a second. So PHW, Potential Hourly Wage. I use it to compare different symbols so I can look at each one and say which one has the most money. The ideal income with PHW is if you could catch every turning point and go long or short as appropriate. That's the ideal profit. PHW is 60% of that. So I figure I can live 20% on the table going in and 20% on the table getting out and keep 60%. See these yellow dots? These are at the perfect turning points. That's PHW, the yellow dots. Oh, and this wave that we have going on here is sunny bands. So in the center, you can see my dynamic moving average, which we were talking about. And then there's 1.2 ATRs and 2.0 ATRs bands. So you can see that's sunny bands. It's the ATRs figured around my dynamic moving average. Here it is on Metastock. You can see the yellow dots. And then this red line is the net profit that you would make if you could make that 60%. And they have a little thing called commentary where they give you all the statistics from PHW indicator. At the bottom of the charts, you can see my dynamic moving average histogram, which is the difference between the gold and purple lines. And it's an early warning system, so I know when gold turns to red, I'm losing momentum. When purple's on top, we're looking to be short. So when purple turns to green, we're losing the momentum for the short trade. Pumpkin, stop it. So on the SPY, buy and hold is $1,500 for the length of that chart. The ideal is $750,000. Now we're going to take 60% of that. So that's almost $450,000. That's a big difference in buy and hold and trading. And look at this, had 25 trades, and the date span was, what is that, 3 years? And here's PHW on the E-mini. You can see the yellow dots again at each turning point with the sunny bands. Oh, this isn't the ES, this is Microsoft. Oh, well, we need a little correction in the presentation here. Here are the details on the ES. Buy and hold was $1,258. The ideal was $12,000 for one contract, and 60% of that is $7,500. 26 trades, and the date span was 3 years again. Now at $50 a point times 7,500, that gives you a bigger number. What is that? 490,000 or 49,000 or something like that. I'm not, I may be a mathematician, but I'm not an arithmetician. I don't do multiplying and dividing or adding and subtracting. So here's the same thing. PHW, which is the yellow dots, on sunny bands. And I've marked every trade. Red means short. The blue vertical line is long. Red vertical line is short. And those are all the trades with sunny bands. And the PHW details on the bonds. Buy and hold, you lost 78 cents. The ideal was $331. Now this is times 1,000. PHW is 60% of the ideal, and 31 trades for that one. And again, a 3-year span. So at $1,000 the full point, we're looking at $1,000 times 199. 1, 2, 3, what's that? 19,000. And here it is on Microsoft, PHW again. You see it prints out. This is TradeStation's version. You can see it prints out what the ideal, the PHW, the ideal number of trades in the date span. It automatically prints that out on your chart for you. And here are the trades. There you go. Long, short, long, short. The details on Microsoft are buy and hold was $181. And then, of course, it depends how many shares you're going to trade. Ideal is $1,200 per share. 60% of that is $770 per share, and 29 trades. And you notice that all these things have about the same number of trades, 29, 25, 31 we had. And that's because of the rhythm of the market. It's typical to have the same number of trades on almost every chart. Date span 3 years. And here's the summary of those. So you'll see that the PHW in this column gives me how much money is potential and which one would I trade. ES, 7,556. I'm going to choose the one with the most income. Now there's a program called Radar Screen on TradeStation that's like a spreadsheet. And you can see over at the far, so I've got a whole bunch of stocks listed here. That's looks like it's the NASDAQ. And on the yellow column is the PHW. So you can see with each of these, which is the most, and if you double click on the top of the column, it'll sort it for you from highest to lowest or lowest to highest. So you can see at a glance which stock is the best to trade. It's the one with the most income. Let's talk about designing your strategy for a minute. Well, let's back up a little bit. What is a strategy? A strategy is a recipe, it's a plan, it's an algorithm, if you will. So you need to have a plan before you even get started. You need to figure out what works and why, and then follow your plan. I started out examining all the locally available indicators in my software. So we pick a chart, and if you don't have PHW, just mark the turning points with a yellow highlighter. And then write down the values of the profit and loss, long, short, long, short, long, short. Add them all up, and you'll know what your PHW is. Now, what I started with was asking the question, what is true? What is true of the chart that I'm looking at with the indicator I'm looking at? And then you test all the possibilities. You want to know where the money is. And of course, keep a comprehensive log of your work. You want to know, well, I've got 8 bankers' boxes full of research that I did to get to my Sunny Bands. So you want to keep comprehensive logs so you can look back and see, well, oh yeah, I already tested that, or here's another possible idea. Keep a log. For instance, these indicators are available in almost every software package. And really would want to test each one of these things so you can see what works. Lots and lots of them. There are hundreds in most software. Let's look at what's true for moving averages. That's the most common thing for people to use is they start with moving averages. So let's take a look at it. Here are 2 moving averages. Standard lengths are 9 and 18. So the fast moving average is 9 and the slow moving average is 18. We put this on our chart. We look at the dots and we say, all right, what's true? In other words, at each turning point of the moving average, calculate profit and loss. There's one. Here's another crossover, And that's why I don't like moving averages, because they cross over back and forth and whipsaw. Another one. Here we have another crossover and another crossover and another crossover. So you can see the problem with whipsaw right there. And another. So I don't like moving averages because of the whipsaw problem. So that's why I set out to develop my dynamic moving average, because it occurred to me that if sometimes a faster moving average would work better, and sometimes a slower moving average would work better. So I created this one, which adjusts its inputs with every tick of the market. So it's constantly working on what should the lengths be. I started out with a table. I thought, okay, I'll just make an array and put table values in there, and I'll change it that way. But that left me with the same problem. I had a bunch of values that I had figured out on my own, not letting the software do it. Let's look at MACD. Same question. We're going to look for the crossovers again and see if we get whipsaw. There's one. There's another, and another, and another. And these go along like this. And you can see at each crossover MACD what is true in the market. So for instance, let's look at this one. Is this at the low or the high? Neither. It's right in between. What about this one? Is it the low or the high? Neither. It's in between again. So we got to figure out some way to make these things happen faster in some instances and slower in others. These are all the crossovers. There we go. So is that a good one? I don't think so. So we've got the same problem again. How do we come to something that works consistently? Let's look at RSI. Same thing. What is true? So here we have our RSI at the bottom of the chart. We're looking at 80-20 crossovers for overbought and oversold. And here we go, 80-20 crossovers. Some of these are pretty good. Some of them are not so good at all. And there. Let's do one more. Let's look at ADX. So the ADX, you read that by if it's going up, you're in a trend. If it's going down, you're not in a trend. It doesn't tell you which direction the trend is. It just says trend or no trend. And DMI plus at the bottom of the chart and DMI minus crossover, depending on whether it's bullish or bearish. So we'll do the same exercise. We'll look at all these movements of ADX when it's trending to see if it gives us any information. And this one does better, you notice, than the moving average, except where it does. And there we go. Got a lot of those again. Come on. Okay, so a lot of crossovers. And now what we have to do, of course, is go back. And every time it gave us a signal, we have to put the entry price and the exit price. Now, the software can do this for you. All you have to do is write a little code when ADX is greater than ADX and want to go buy, when ADX is less than ADX and want to go sell. And then it'll give you the performance report, and you can tell without doing all this by hand. Come on. And then we got one more. We're going to look at sunny bands. Here we have the sunny bands on a chart. This is Metastock. And there's the first short. And here we've hit the DMA when it's going flat, so that we exit the trade. Here we go long, hit the bottom band and turn, so we go long. And here we've got a flat DMA, so we exit. Here we go short. We've got another flat DMA, so we're going to exit that, etc. So we get all the long and short signals from the sunny bands, and you can tell that these are pretty darn accurate. Look at this short right here, from here to here. And it turns at the bottom band and goes back up again. And hits the flat DMA and turns south again. And there's another beautiful short trade. I like to run a scan on all the stocks in my universe and tell me which stocks are above all three moving averages, the 21, the 55, and the 200. So I get a list of all these stocks that are possible. These are all bullish stocks, and that gives me an idea what to look at. And then I run another scan on it where I scan by those stocks by PHW and find out of the stocks that were bullish, which ones produce the most profit. And that's in this yellow column right here. And we can see the PHW dots on the chart. Now I'm going to show you the Sunny Bands rules. This is what I use in my own trading. I'm not telling you you have to use it in yours. I'm telling you what I do in mine. And they're for educational purposes only. Yeah, I don't give advice. I'm not an advisor, so keep in mind it's educational only. So basic rule is level 1. I enter long when red candles have been moving downward and touch the lower outer band and then turn blue and move back inside the lower outer band if price confirms. And by that I mean second bar has to be moving in the correct direction. So if you've got one blue, that's not enough. You need the second blue line or candle, sorry. You need the candle to move back inside the lower outer band. And you can see here, these are red candles moving down. We've got a blue candle coming up, and the second one is higher than the body of the first one, so we go long. I enter short when blue candles have been moving upward, so like through here, and touch the upper outer band, which these don't quite yet, and turn red and move back inside again if price confirms. And that's what that one looks like. So I want to see price move back inside the inner band in order to take the trade. Today in my live trading room, we sat there the whole hour watching and waiting patiently, and we never did get the setup. So there were no trades today. Level 2 rules are if the DMA midline, that's the dynamic moving average, you see the little black line between the purple and gold. So if that little black line is flat, in other words, visually it's sideways, then I don't expect price to move very far beyond the midline. In fact, it often acts as a barrier to further movement. So you'll see here, this goes up, 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 touches the midline, and retreats. That really happens a lot at a flat DMA. Here's more rules. This is the third set, level 3, 1, 2, and 3 is it. And this tells us that when we have a trend, we stay with it. So level 3, if gold is on top, which it is all the way through this, all the way up there, then I stay long until the gold is penetrated. And it's penetrated right here. You see how it comes back down and hits the DMA. Then I'm out of that long trade. Likewise with short trades, if purple is on top and we're moving down, so we have a trend, I stay with that and oops, I stay with that until it crosses the DMA. Now I can give you Sunny Bands for free. If you'd like to put Sunny Bands in the chat window or text it to me at 760-908-3070. If you text me Sunny Bands, I'll give it to you for free for a week. Be sure to let me know email and what platform you're using. And there's my phone number again for convenience if you'd like to text me. Tell me what platform you use and your name and email address. It's as simple as that. Free for 7 days. Oh, and with that comes free orientation and instruction. So we do 2 Zoom calls with me, not my assistant, not a salesperson. It's me and you. So we do an orientation session and do the installation. And then we do another one where we do the instruction in the live market. So just let me know that you want it. And last year, 482%. This year so far, 167%. I do a free live trading room. You can get 2 free guest passes before you subscribe. I do it every morning, every weekday, every trading morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. But Wednesday mornings, I give out guest passes. So if you want a guest pass, you know my phone number. Text me. 1 hour for free. Text, or you can fill out a little form and get the guest pass this way. moneymentor.com/guest pass. And here we have a little 99-second live trading room replay. I can see how boring it is in the trading room. This is my theme song, which one of my clients programmed for me. With the flat DMA with gold on top, I don't really expect it to go much lower than the DMA. If it goes down and closes under the DMA, then I'm short. Next 1 minute NASDAQ is going straight up. Look, it's trying. Let's see what this one's doing. Come on. Order filled. Okay. What I'm watching right now to see if that's going to go above this inner band. And if it does, it seems to me like it's going to move even further up. So I tell you what I'm looking at. There we go. You can see me trading live. Good job. I tell you what I'm trying to see and what I'm waiting for. And I follow those level 1, 2, and 3 rules. Sure was. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I've taken 2 of them, Sonny. Have you? Did you make any money? Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. And there's the disclaimer again. So remember when you're working on becoming a trader to ask what is true, to develop your own strategy, create a detailed written plan. You got to write it down. Include your expenses. Test your plan for efficacy. We want to know that it works. And then stick to your plan. If you can't follow it, it's because you haven't tested it enough. You don't really know the answer. If you've got a good system, it doesn't have to be the best system in the world. It just has to work. And then you have to repeat it over and over and over again. Also, if you have a winning strategy, you can amplify your returns. I have a spreadsheet that I call Ultimate F, which allows me to add positions to increase my rewards. However, without a winning strategy, you can't compound your trading. Bigger losses just make for bigger losses. So you can't compound losses. But with a winning sequence of trades, you can judiciously compound for great success. My Ultimate F is based on the works of Ralph Vince. He has a book that he wrote called Mathematics of Money Management. And his fraction is called optimal F. It's the optimal fraction at which to compound. Problem is, it has a serious flaw, and that is you end up losing on your largest loss. So I took his work and refined it, and that way you have much less exposure on your final trade. And so it yields larger and larger wins. Here's an example. This is trading one contract. This is real trading. So we're trading one contract over and over, and we make a little more than $80,000 that year. And if you use the Ultimate F, this red line is what the Ultimate F compounded looks like. So we've got close to 600,000 instead of 80,000. And yes, we have some serious drawdown here, but nevertheless, you can see it compounds dramatically. So if you're interested, give me a call. There's my number once again. We've got a question here. What time do you go live? It's 7:30 every morning, 7:30 Pacific. And I answer my calls myself. As long as I'm not giving a presentation or on the phone with somebody else, I'll answer. If I don't answer, leave me a message. I'll call you back. I don't have any salespeople. And here's my moneymentor.com. There's my website. Current version. I'm working on a new one, but it's not quite ready yet. All the products I have, I programmed for use in my own trading. I did not program them to sell them to you, but I do make them available to you, and I show you exactly how I use them. So you can go to moneymentor.com/order, and you can see my order form or products and see all the products that I have. Now, remember, I don't hold anything back. A lot of people who teach you how to trade kind of wave their hands and tell you this, this, and this, and you're expected to catch on. But I don't do that. I tell you exactly what I'm doing and why, and I show you what the chart looks like. I train you to use them for free. Live trading room every day by subscription. You can come in on Wednesdays on a guest pass. I call it Trade Along with Sunny, TAWS, and 7:30 a.m. Pacific time for 1 hour. Text me TAWS and I'll get you the information and send you the link. You can tell I like to get texts. Now, my special deal today for attendees of this talk is I'm going to give you a free week, not Wednesday, but an entire free week to my TAWS room, Trade Along with Sunny. So let me know that you'd like to have that. You can email me, you can call me, you can text me, and we'll get you set up with a free week so you can come every day. And my free predictions are at Substack, tcrgsunny.substack.com, and it's called Where Will the Dow Go From Here? So I offer education and consulting, easy language programming services for TradeStation, mentoring, distance learning. I have a course called Solving the Puzzle, and I offer the indicators I use myself in my own trading, programmed by me for me. And we can give you a 7-day free trial and the live trading room daily. There's a lot of stuff here available, so please make use of it and get in contact with me, and let's get this set up for you too. If you order before the end of this week, today is Tuesday. So if you order before Saturday, I can give you up to 40% off on all my indicators and mentoring. And I just introduced a new 3-month payment plan. If you don't have enough money to buy it right now, you can make 3 payments. If you want a 7-day trial, there's my number again, or text me trial. And are there any questions? Let's see where the questions are. No questions. Well, David, if there's no questions, I'm done.